Welcome to the conversation part of the Upper Bowl podcast. We have friend of the program. He is in charge of crossingbroad.com and also the host of Crossing Broadcast that I do with him whenever we do one-off shows. He's the man of the people. He does all the Radio Wars articles. He does 150 takes about what happens after every Eagles game. I'd like to welcome back to the program, friend of the program, and I can say friend, Kevin Kinkead. Kevin, how we doing and what up, by the way?
Good, man. It's good to be back on the Upper Bowl podcast. It's nice to have an Eagles win
Yes.
to talk about. And yeah, man, never had a bad day in my life.
And never, me neither as well. I just say that. All right. What were your thoughts on the Eagles Vikings? The Carson Wentz revenge game did not happen, thankfully. And where are you at with Carson Wentz? So we say he won the Super Bowl. He helped us win the Super Bowl, but Foles finished it. Where do we say with Carson Wentz now? Is that era officially going back onto us? Like we can officially put that to bed finally?
I just find it hard to in hindsight to worry, too much or spend too much time at all talking about 2018 or 19 or 20. I mean, Carson was a big part of why that team had home field advantage in the playoffs and put Nick Foles in a great position to pick up the torch and pick up the baton, really, I guess, and carry it to the finish line with the number one seed. So, yeah, I've always said there's no Super Bowl without Carson, and all the stuff that came after it. It doesn't really matter to me when you look back at it in hindsight. I mean, the guy got MVP votes even though he only played 13 games and was injured, and his last act that season was carrying the ball into the end zone on a torn ACL. So, I mean, Carson's always going to be decent in my book just for that alone.
Yeah, I go by this like he did his job, and like I look at it now as like even though new Eagle fans may hate him, I'm like he brought us a Super Bowl, but I'm like okay with it. But it's like he's not gonna get the notoriety because he was kind of a bad teammate towards the end. It's like he was like pissed off about it, and Darren Sproles wanted to kick his ass anyways. But it's like only look at it as like he did help win the Super Bowl. We need to accept it. It's like we all have flaws, and Carson Wentz has that flaw,
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. That's not me. Like this. Trying to minimize anything that happened after that. I mean, we all lived it. I was writing about it every day, it seemed like. So, yeah, I mean, but I'm not like one of those guys who's like can't stand the guy who like hates him. I just, I remember how much, it meant for everybody to win that first Super Bowl after going through the 1980s and the Buddy Ryan years and Richie Kotite and Ray Rhodes and Andy Reid and all that stuff. And so the bottom line is that you people will try to say, well, Carson didn't play in the Super Bowl and he wouldn't have beat Brady or whatever, which nobody knows. But the only way I can look at it in the most simple terms is, I mean, he played a role on that 2017 team, and he's part of that Super Bowl team, and he had a responsibility on that team. And I considering how long it took to get that first one, it's hard for me to remember anybody on that team in a negative way.
That's true. Anyways, what was your major takeaway from this Vikings game? Can I say that Kelly Ringo is the worst corner I've ever seen since blank? You can name one. I see Leotis McKelvin at least.
Leotis McKelvin. Like red zone, man. Red zone. I mean, Minnesota's 1 for 6 in the red zone, and the Eagles were like 1 for 1, 0 for 1 or something like that, because they've just scored bombs,
Yep.
And that was really it. They got into the red zone early in Minnesota. They snapped the ball over Carson's head. I don't know how you snap the ball over a 6'5" quarterback,
Yeah.
They had the holding call that I don't even know was a holding call. They had the TJ Hawkinson catch that wasn't a catch. So combination of luck and mistakes. And, as much as people want to kill Carson for, throwing the picks. I mean, the pick six was a bad play, and he got blindsided by Jalen Carter, and that was Jalen Hunt dropping off. Second interception was like a heave, really, basically functioned as a punt. But, the red zone stuff was combination mistakes from different Minnesota guys. So I think that was really it. They, even when the Eagles weren't playing well for stretches of the game, Minnesota would get close and then they couldn't punch it in, So, I mean, that was probably the biggest takeaway for me.
My other biggest takeaway is the offense looked somewhat serviceable, I could say. Like it felt like it looked kind of connected, at least especially the passing game. It looks like their strong suit when you give AJ Brown, like give me this is what you do when you give me the effing ball, anyways. Pulling like, and I say it's a nice Keyshawn Johnson or Terrell Owens almost when you look at
Yeah,
both of them.
wasn't Keyshawn the original? Wasn't he throw me the damn ball? Is that
Throw me the damn ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think I'm looking at it as like AJ Brown's trying to be his own version of Keyshawn / Terrell on TO, anyways. But I look at it as like the Eagles look good in the passing game, the run game. I think I'm at the point is like we can't put it all on Saquon. I think it's your front four with the offensive line, anyways.
The line's been pretty poor. Yeah, I think the line's been pretty poor in run blocking and
pass block's been okay. It's been good. It's been better, I'll say.
Pass protection's been pretty good. Yeah, I mean they just I don't know how much of the running is what Lane Johnson was talking about with them being predictable and defenders just kind of know it's coming and these guys get a good jump off the line. But Mekhi Becton looks like he was a bigger loss in the run game than we thought. And Landon Dickerson hasn't been healthy for the entire year. Lane Johnson's was in and out the first couple of weeks. Fred Johnson had to come in. Now you got Brett Toth coming in and playing center at in this last game, Brett Toth was a tackle coming out of college. So, yeah. I mean, he's not even really a guard. He's just kind of a fill-in piece anywhere along the line. I say swing tackle or whatever. He's a swinged anything, really. Swing guard. Played center now for them.
He's a swing offensive lineman, we'll call it.
He's a swinger, yeah. And so and Tyler Steen's been decent in pass protection. Yeah, they just are not opening up the holes they were opening last year. And we have data with Sport Radar, which is a company that owns Crossing Broad. And you can kind of look at like the holes that are opened up in on each side between like the guards and the tackles, A gap, B gap, C gap, or whatever. And especially when they run inside the guards, they just are not inside or outside of the guards. So A gap or B gap, they're just not. He's just not. They're not doing a lot there. They're just not opening up the holes for Saquon to run through. So it's funny how they go from being the best running team in the league to like now they're a passing team all of a sudden again. So
it sounds like what Andy, good old Jeff Lurie wants. Like I want a passing team. Damn it! I want the greatest show on turf, anyways.
It's like the old Andy Reid like pass run splits where he threw it like 68% of the time, and then Deuce Staley got like 11 carries.
Yeah, it's bad enough. I think that Sunday game. I said it was like 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. It's like run the ball, Andy. Like Jesus Christ, anyways. And I was working.
But you gotta like honestly, man. You and I both watched that game with two working eyeballs, and if that's what they're gonna give you, then you take it. And I I think it's funny how all the consternation about Jalen. He goes out and throws for a perfect quarterback rating.
Yeah,
it's like we all drew it up.
I feel like we could never be happy with Jalen. Like you're running the ball too much, you're not passing enough, and you pass the ball too much, you're not running enough. It feels like we're in that Donovan McNabb cycle back in the early 2000s when we couldn't be happy with either one of what he did, anyways.
Well, I mean, it's not. What is. That's such a nebulous concept, like how much running you do and how much passing you do. I mean, because if you go into a game saying like we want to run the ball 60% of the time, we want to throw the ball 40% of the time, that sounds good. But then you go into the game, and what if they put 9 guys in the box every single time?
Exactly.
No, I mean you adjust the game plan. You just how you look at it. For what it's worth, they came out and they ran the ball like 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
So obviously they wanted to establish something on the ground. But, as the game flow dictated, they ended up being a passing team. And Isaiah Rodgers, who, everybody was like lamenting his loss this year. He got burned like Isaiah Jenkins on a couple plays.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say that we go back to the running game? Would you say Kellen Moore did the best running game we've seen as a Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator since back when Andy was around here? Would you say?
Here's the thing that people don't seem to ever be talking about these last couple of weeks. The run game coordinator is Jeff Stoutland.
Really?
Yeah. He's the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator. So how much of it is the run game coordinator not coordinating versus like Kevin Patullo as a play caller? Showing predictability in play calling versus maybe the offensive line just injured and or taking a step back,
Yeah.
So it's always hard to play the who to blame. game. But yeah, I mean, it's funny that I've never heard Stout. I haven't heard Stout's name mentioned really much at all. I mean, have you heard anybody?
No, we're mentioning it now on the Upper Bowl podcast. Maybe we're starting a trend here finally.
Yeah, you heard it first on the Upper Bowl.
we started the new narrative. At least give us credit. At least come on.
Yeah. I listen, man. I don't. It's like you get Drew Brees coming out and talking about wow, the Eagles look boring. I know they're 5-2 and whatever, but again, like I think people got to like recalibrate and they got to like kind of realize what they're asking for.
Yeah,
they're asking for perfection.
Mm-hmm. They want us to be the 72 Dolphins. It ain't gonna fucking happen.
No, I mean, even last year when the Eagles went on that streak and they were just running teams over, like, people are still trying to say, well, what's the next level of this? I don't think there really is a next level, man. This is probably like as good as it gets. And like, if you can't appreciate, 2005 rushing yards at the Saquon, like, what are you gonna? You can't have it all. Like, you can't have a team that's like Saquon runs for 2,000 yards, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both catch 1,400 yards worth of. There's just not enough to go around. No team is doing that, No,
unless you're maybe the good old the 2000s or 99 St. Louis Rams. At least they could probably.
I would say though, with the Eagles offense, it does feel like the highs are high and the lows are low.
Yeah,
they're just as likely to they're likely to throw a bomb and score like some beautiful drive, and then the very next drive they'll go 3 and out with like negative yards. So I see what people are saying with that. You're not looking for perfection, but you're looking for a floor that's more consistent than what they have now. I felt like last year they had a lower ceiling but a higher floor. This year, I feel like the ceiling is higher with the passing game, but the floor is also lower. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it's like building a beautiful mansion is what John Gruden would say. That's what building an offense is like. That's what I consider, anyways. It's the most cliche thing. You're building a beautiful mansion with making an offense. Like, okay, John, how does that work half the time? Explain that to me, at least. How like there's a let Russ cook movement up when he was in Seattle and part of Denver. Do you think we're going to start having that let Jalen Cook movement starting to come down here in Philadelphia, since Kevin Batula should be working in a wing stop occasionally after a couple of those games this year? That is my current trend, I like to say.
Let Jalen cook. I don't think anybody's ever really had concerns about his ability to throw the deep ball or be accurate or hit stuff outside the hash marks. I mean, I think the complaints about his passing have always been very specifically like he doesn't process, doesn't go through reads like other quarterbacks do. But I if your progressions go from Pro Bowl receiver to Pro Bowl receiver, or like elite tight end to Pro Bowl receiver, then you don't really have to do much. I mean, you go to your 1, you go to your 2, and then take off from there. So I don't know if there's really much, reading or scanning that even has to be done. I think a lot of it more is just kind of reading it pre-snap.
Mm-hmm. I think you're reading it more pre-snap, so like who's got single coverage at least, or what can I run here at least,
Well, yeah, and people have this incorrect idea of how like progressions work. It's not like a quarterback drops back and he's like, all right, I'm going to look at my 1, now I'm going to look at my 2. And I'm looking at my 3, and I'm gonna look at my foot. Like, you don't have, nobody has time to do any of that. And like, remember, I used to work with Beasley Reese in when I was at Eyewitness News in Philly, and he explained to me how reads are all kind of progressions are kind of like bunched together. So you're looking at one side of the field, and if you're 1 and 2 are both on the same side, you're really going through like 2 reads at once. So like this guy's running and in, this guy's running like a sluggo. You're basically doing 2, like a 2 for 1 in reads. It's not like you go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. It's like 1, 2, and there's 3, and then I'm by then I'm taking off and get out of the pocket and running. So
it's not like the Madden 06, 07, the QBI thing that it follows you everywhere. You're like, who do you throw to, Reggie Wayne, or you throw it to Marvin Harrison Jr. if you have Peyton Manning at least?
Yeah, exactly. No, so it's I mean, it's not. I think it, it's more it gets more granular when you're talking about Jalen's what you want to see from him.
Yeah, I think after the Minnesota game I was watching, I was like, I'm impressed. Like this is probably the best game he's had all year, because I was at the Tampa game and it felt like the first half was great. The second half was probably the worst football I've ever seen in the second half offense of all time. I feel like when I look at it, it's like when you put it all together, with like if you can have the start from the Tampa game and the end of the Minnesota game, I feel like you have a winning football team at least.
Yeah, and I get that that's what people are concerned about. It's not that. Then that goes to what I'm saying about the high highs and the low lows.
Yeah.
Is they'll have one good half, then they'll have a poor half, and then they'll have a decent drive, and then like 2 3 and outs that look really bad. So I think that's all anybody's asking for is less perfection and more just consistency and kind of like having like rhythm, and the offense and the defense playing off each other. I remember like a couple years ago, the one thing that they like just stunk at was like the offense would score and then the defense would immediately give something up.
Yeah,
the defense would have an amazing stop and then the offense would go 3 and out and put the defense, so it's like complementary in a way to kind of link momentum and be a consistent team and find that like rhythm and flow. And that's kind of been the thing that's been missing more than anything.
Definitely. That's what I think too. I missed that rhythm and flow. Not that it used to belong on BET and MTV back in the day. Like
Yeah.
All right, I gotta ask you: is AJ Brown and Devontae Smith the most miserable wideouts since not getting their touches? Would you say? Even though they won a Super Bowl,
are they the most miserable wideouts? Devontae is always like quiet, AJ just I don't know what it is with him, man, but it doesn't mean anything to me anymore because this has been going on for 2 years, and in those
3 if you count him going after WIP.
Yeah, was that? I feel like that was 23 though. Was at the end of
23? Yeah,
I guess right. Yeah, so now we're in halfway through year 3. Yeah. The AJ thing doesn't bother me. Pagan wrote about it on the site the other day, and I was like, all right, go for it. I feel unaffected by whatever he says on Instagram, because we went through this whole stupid thing with him and Jalen Hurts and the Brandon Graham comments last year, and they won the Super Bowl. So I don't know what is his Instagram, posting.
What is his Instagram or Twitter? What is he posting? I feel like it's the hottest thing on the internet that Diana Rossini needs to write a story about every time on the New York Times.
Well, I mean, it's so funny, man, because it's the way that they reacted after the Super Bowl. I mean, Jalen didn't even wear his ring. AJ Brown basically told everyone that he didn't really feel much of anything winning it. and that, like, essentially
almost, and he scored a touchdown at least,
Well, it's like, you play like a video game back in the day when you're a kid, and you're like, oh, I gotta like level up, and I gotta like get the next like weapon, and I gotta like make my character stronger, and then you beat the game. And you're like, all right, well, now what?
I don't want to do the it's like GTA when you beat GTA 5. I don't want to do the online play now. I was like, I want the next story,
Unless it's like the World of Warcraft where you don't beat the game and you're just like stuck in there in perpetuity, But I mean, AJ made it very clear that like in his mind, the chase is better than the catch.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how that manifests this year. I mean, they told everybody who would listen that they're not the defending Super Bowl champions. And I was like, well, I would just try to at least enjoy yourself a little bit. Nobody's saying you got to go on like a bender to like Cabo with Sammy Hagar here, but it's go enjoy it for a week, right?
Enjoy it for a month anyway. That's what Sammy Hagar were doing. It was put it in Cabo, then go to South Florida at least.
Yeah, go drink some tequila with Sammy Hagar, and then join him at his Las Vegas residency.
What were your thoughts on Brandon Graham coming out of retirement? Speaking of coming out of residency, almost.
I mean, it doesn't really do much for me. You're talking about a 37-year-old who tore his biceps twice last year.
Yeah, I was at the game when he tore it the first time, anyways, and I was like, he was badass in that game, anyways, against the Rams and sacking Matthew Stafford like it was like back in 2010, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, BG was good last year, but what do we get?
I don't know what we're getting.
What are we getting from him in this year? Yeah, I mean, like he's probably only going to play like 12 to 15 snaps to start, right? I mean, because you're just basically pushing everybody else up on the depth chart until he's like conditioned and ready to go.
My thing is like I don't like doing the I was looking back on this. I was looking at like people who retired and came back or tried to retire, like who are like out of football and they got lured out of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Two people I think of is Chris Carter when he was like he didn't find a job immediately after the Vikings until the Dolphins cut him. He didn't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the outlier is Jason Witten. It's like he was in shape the whole time when doing Monday Night Football with the with ESPN with Joe Tessitore, and he looked amazing in 2019. Then I feel like he fell off a perch in 2020, went to the Raiders and stuff. It looks weird anyways. I look at it like there's no true outlier when you look at it anyways. I just don't know what we're getting. And plus he didn't do any like training camp at all either.
Well, I think Nolan Smith's gonna be back.
Yeah,
and they've got they can mess around with Jihad Campbell down on the edge, and I don't. People saying like, well, is that his best spot, or should he play linebacker or whatever? I mean, you're telling me that you got Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean and Jihad Campbell, and if you're just looking at your best 11 guys, then those three should be out there, and and Campbell will get to play line. You're not switching his position permanently.
No, he's not
like when you play. Yeah, it's like in soccer, man. When you all like dick around with formations and all this stuff, and it's like, well, I think this guy should go here and this guy should get. Oftentimes, man, you just get your best play, put your best 11 players on the field, and let them kind of figure it out. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not as down on that as everybody else. I know the pass rush needs to improve, but they also had like one of the lowest, edge rush pressure ratings for the beginning of last year to begin with, and then the edge group picked it up. So
it's a slow process. I always feel like we always get like us Eagle fans. We all get mad at like the pass rush not in like mid-season form. Like you have to build on it. It's not going to come quick, anyways. Well,
no, I mean, remember all the stuff with Bryce Huff last year, and Nolan Smith didn't look great, and Brandon Graham was old as hell last year. I mean, and then they turned out fine. And plus the other thing too is like they've gotten a lot of pressure historically, I mean, last 2 years through the inside, Jalen Carter. So you don't only generate pass rush from the edge, right? I mean, those guys on the interior can do it as well. I mean, you can blitz a linebacker every so often. Vic Fangio's not a big blitz guy, but
there are ways. Anyways.
yeah, there are ways to make it work.
What do you think the Eagles should do at trade deadline? So it's a couple weeks away right now. I'm not starting to bang the table right now. I kind of like to go down to Miami and see if we can grab Jalen Phillips, by the way, off the edge, by the way.
I think they need a corner. I think they need a corner more than they need an edge rusher.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but the whole group of Nolan Smith coming back, Alex Hunt, Josh Uche, not Aziz Ansari, Tony.
No.
Harry. Aziz Ojulari.
And if BG almost.
Yeah. If BG can give him a little bit of something, I feel like you're okay with that. But I don't feel great with Ringo or Ja'Cory Bennett or Adoree J. Yeah,
I think it's the worst secondary we've seen since maybe Leotis McKelvin group, since that was like 2016. I could say post Brian Dawkins in 09 and 10 when he had Nate Allen back there too.
Yeah. I just think like they've been giving up. I got to look at the numbers to see how they equate, but it feels like they've been giving up more explosive plays this year than they normally do.
Yeah, which is very strange. It's very strange.
What the defense is built to prevent, So what you're always concerned when it's like, oh, that's the last thing that's supposed to happen. Like people calling for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to come back, but he's in Makuba's spot, and Makuba's been pretty good. A couple missed tackles here and there, but he looks good otherwise. So I don't think you need to go there.
I like Makuba so far, even though he does go to the school of Asante Samuel School of Tackling a little bit. He needs to work on that department.
He does. Yeah, there is he's funny, man. He's like he'll either deliver like a big hit, like he had this great stop along the goal line.
Yep.
In the Vikings game, and then he just missed something along the sideline. So it's like feast or famine with his tackling.
It's like Nnamdi. Like when I see him wear 24, I yelled. I was like, "God damn it, Nnamdi!" Awesome, almost. And it's like, wait, it's Makuba, anyways.
Well, there was this famous clip of like Asante. I think they were playing the Raiders this one time. He just completely whiffed on it. He did like a front flip and like flew past him on the screen. So it wasn't for a lack of trying, I guess. I just don't think he was a wrap him up kind of guy.
I don't think they taught him that at University of Central Florida, anyways. So they don't know how to.
No.
That's a bounce house conference or whatever they were in back in the day. All right, Eagles get the Giants this weekend. Is this rivalry officially back now since Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby has to have the most hateable of New York Giants faces since Eli Manning and Jeremy Shockey?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I think everybody was kind of this mindset that the commies would kind of take back the spot after the year they had. But now, like, Daniels has been banged up and whatever. Yeah, man, a little bit of a like revenge thing going on here on Sunday, So yeah, Jackson Dart is kind of like annoying, like Scatterboo. Looks like he could have been an extra in 8 Mile.
I think we have to make the memes already. Get him the do-rag and everything, the hoodie already. So
yeah, he's got a little bit of like a wigger thing going. Am I allowed to say that on the?
You're allowed to say that on this podcast. Yeah. We're allowed to say that.
I'm white and from the exurb, so I feel like I'm allowed to say that.
Yes, I'm white. I'm from Connecticut. We're fine with that anyway.
I feel like Scatterboo just needs like a gold chain and some Jenkos and. But I mean, like in truth, they it's giving him some juice, man. Dart's a pain in the ass to kind of chase around, and like he made some plays with his feet, and you got a little bit of film on him now, I think, and you know what to expect. And like with Scatterboo, man, you just got to want it more.
You just got to tackle him lower. I feel like to get him low.
He's like a little like bowling ball coming through the line, man. He's gonna raise the level, and you got to rise to it. So yeah. I mean, I'm never gonna say it's good for the Giants to be good, but yeah, it'd be nice to have some juice there in that game.
Because I feel like I kind of said this. I said this during the first one. Like, well, at least a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while when the Giants beat the Eagles for the first time in forever. That's what I've always said. And I have Will Manson, who's a Giant fan. He works down here in Miami. It's like, it's good for the rivalry. It's like, stop it. Just stop it. Anyway.
Well, doesn't it just go to show? I mean, you look at like the Giants and the Jets haven't been Drek, for as many years as they have. It all just starts and ends with finding a quarterback.
Yeah. The Jets, I always say, is like you haven't found a good quarterback since Chad Pennington, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they went to last time they went to the playoffs was with Mark Sanchez, right?
Correct.
And they had a really good running game with Sean Green, right?
And Thomas Jones. Wait, not with Thomas Jones for 1 year. I know it was Sean Green.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's if you come through this game 6-2, get some revenge on the Giants, like how can you not feel good about it?
Yeah, going to the bye would be good.
You beat the Rams, you beat the Chiefs,
beat the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just hard for me to go glass half empty on the Eagles, considering what they, what their record is now and who they've beat.
Definitely, I just think it's a revenge factor. Which the Eagles haven't had a revenge factor in a while. Would you say? Because it's like. You could say like the last one was like the NFC title game versus Washington when Washington knocked out since they knocked out Hurts in the Week 16 game. It was
I mean, if you wanted to turn Super Bowl 59 into a Super Bowl 57 revenge thing, I mean, I guess he could have played that angle last year.
I was going with the Washington game at least because that was like when they knocked out Hurts for his last time he played, anyways.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess the circumstances for that were so much. I mean, everybody knows they would have killed him if Hurts had stayed in that game. So I think that was less revenge for like for the what am I trying to say? It was less like we owe you one and more like, righting a wrong.
Yeah.
I guess, considering that they were cruising before he went out with the concussion.
Yeah. So this is like more like we owe you one. We just got to beat the crap out of the Giants.
Yeah, I guess. Because I don't even, you put a fat asterisk on that second Washington game anyway. And, they really, if the Hurts plays in that second game, then they sweep them 3-0.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That'd been fun anyways. The Washington. Yeah. What's your big next couple matchups for the Eagles? They got the bye week after the Giants. Monday Night Football versus Packers, Sunday Night Football versus the Lions, and that 4:25 game versus the Cowboys. This is a daunting stretch for the Eagles, would you say? It's like a testing chain?
Not really. I mean, everybody wanted to crown Green Bay the first couple of weeks, but, going out.
New dynasty, if people called it already.
Going out there is a little tricky. I don't know. I'm not that worried about Jordan Love, though. The Detroit game will be the Detroit game, for sure. And, Dallas, I just don't they just don't have enough on defense. So I think that'll be like a high scoring. They're probably similar to the opener, but I think they go 2-1 coming out. I think they go beat the Giants, go to 6-2, go into the bye. I think they win 2 of the next 3. So then they come out at 8-3.
Okay. So I think the big game I like to say I want to see what they do against Detroit because we didn't get to face Dan Campbell yet. Like we haven't faced Detroit maybe since the second year of Dan Campbell, anyways.
The
So
opener, yeah, the 23 opener,
22 opener,
22 opener, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see what the Eagles do versus the Lions this time. It's like we haven't played the Lions in forever, and it's like I want to see where we're at as a measuring stick because we should have played them last year in the NFC title game, but Detroit didn't show up in the divisional round. And I think the Cowboy game could be interesting because there's rumor of them to try and get Max Crosby from the Raiders, which got shot down very quickly by James Slater and everybody. I want to see what's going to happen in that game because it's like I always kind of said. I said this to Zach Wolchuk and Eric Chiafalo. Like I think we're going to see more in the second matchup than the first matchup because week one anything can happen anyways.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, on one hand, you could say like the Rams and the Bucks and the Chiefs are the barometer games, but they were also so early in the season too that it's hard. You're going to get to a point where like, do any of those teams look like they looked like in week 2, 3, or 4? So I don't know. You just keep cruising along here, try to get the run game, guys. I think the offensive line needs to get healthy and they need to be able to at least establish the run game a little bit. Nobody expected Saquon to run for 2,000 yards again, but he's like way down across the board, and that's just the only thing. Hope Quinyon Mitchell's hamstring holds up and that Jalen Carter stays on the field because they're a different team without those two guys out there. But I would see if you can trade for a corner and get the offensive line going here. And
any corner that you're looking for already, you haven't named yet?
Not particularly. No, I think anybody's better than what they have at CB2 right now.
Yeah. Keely Ringo, could you please not be a human missile and stop knocking people out at least? That's my little thing.
He's so strange. I mean, he'll have like one great rep followed up by a terrible rep, and like you see potential there. And
I don't.
It doesn't seem like he can string. Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like he can string together like two decent reps in a row. But you never know.
I feel pass rush, and I feel like if you get a corner, it'll be good. I feel like corner is number one and pass rush is number two. I flip flop both anyways, or just put them at 1A, 1B anyways. 1A to be the corner, and then 1B will be the pass rush anyways. We do have breaking news. I know we don't do much baseball breaking news. No. The Giants have hired Tennessee's Tony Vitello as manager, by the way.
Who?
The Tennessee Vols baseball head manager is going to the pros. He's now the San Francisco Giants head coach, by the way.
That sounds like a hire that they would make.
It's kind of a cool action hire. I'll say that for sure. It's a little different. At least we're going into the college ranks for baseball finally. Make it entertaining at least. So
can he manage grown men will be the question.
Could he not be chirping at the umpires like his teams did in Tennessee did all the time in SEC play is the better question.
Yeah.
How quick will he get tossed out of a game? Will there be a new record for Lou Piniella to have to worry about, or Bobby Cox? 305-567.
We shall see.
All right, let's talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. I think they're the more entertaining winter team right now, next to better than the Sixers. Am I crazy to say that with Rick Tocchet?
That they're more entertaining than the Sixers?
Yeah.
Well, we got to see what the Sixers are. But in terms of vibes, definitely. I mean, yeah, you feel better vibes about the Flyers and the Sixers because I think this Sixers season is just going to be like, biting your, lower lip, waiting for the injuries to come, But, yeah, so far so good, man. They got some decent wins against Seattle, against the Wild, against the Panthers.
Yeah. The first Panther game they played, I looked at them, I was like, they're not as terrible as I thought they were going to be this year,
No, and there's games where I think like there's going to be games like
Winnipeg,
the Jets game where they just get blasted. They're going to have a couple of those still. But for the most part, when Vladar is in there, I mean, he's been playing really well, and they just look like a different team playing in front of him. They
look more inspired, though. I'll say that they look more like they want to play for Rick Tocchet, unlike John Tortorella.
Well, or even then, just the coaching change in general, right? It's hard to say how much of it is like, just playing for Tocchet versus not playing for Torts, But Zegers doesn't have a goal yet, but he's got like 5 assists in 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Forster looks like he could be a point per game kind of player at some point. Noah Cates, I think, leads the team in shots on goal at this point. Coots looks better.
Coots looks refreshed.
Yeah, they're using Travis Sanheim a lot. I don't know if he can play like 20, what is he playing, like 26 minutes a night so far?
Something like that. It's ridiculous anyway.
Yeah. They really need another top, like they need another like bona fide, legitimate defenseman. And Mishkov, I don't know. I'm not. He scored, in the preseason. He looked fine in the preseason. So I don't know how, if he's got this ankle injury, then I'm not too worried about him. I mean, he didn't exactly come flying out of the gates last year. So
no. And I always said this. I was looking at it, I was like, all right, the Russian kid came over. I made this joke. Like, how many times is Tortorella going to healthy scratch this kid because he doesn't want to play this kid anyways. Like last year, he didn't play any of the Florida teams in Florida. I was like, well, this guy doesn't want to have this rookie play anyways. So,
well, it seems like the shifts that Mishkov is missing. I mean, it seems like he's been getting the time limitation's been more in the third period, if I remember correctly, which seems this would match up with the idea that like his fitness just isn't there. Right. I mean, is that what we're going with? Like,
yeah, he can play the final 10 minutes or 5 minutes in the third period anyways.
Yeah. So I mean, there's really nothing to worry about, but just the general trajectory that they're on, being in this fun transition year, we hope. It's like we've saying on Crossing Broadcast, man. I think if they just come out of this, making themselves attractive to free agents, they're going to have a clean salary cap for, I think, the first time ever.
Yeah.
It's the first time, in 15 years at least, but that's all you can really ask for,
I think I'm looking at their salary cap right now because I was looking when you said clean salary cap, I was like, since when? Because I feel like we haven't had that maybe for like forever. When you look at it, it's like only thing you have buyout is Grunstrom, Atkinson will be gone, and Hayes and Lawton will be gone after this year as well.
Yeah, and Ryan Ellis, they got his contract off the books, even though it wasn't hitting the cap.
Yeah, which is beautiful, but I was like,
yeah, because if he did get healthy, he had 2 more years, and it's like, what does this guy have, if anything? And it was like $6.5 million.
Yeah, that's $6.5 million back when he was actually good. Now $6.5 million when I'm still like recovering from injury. And like he's gonna find a way to like let me get injured so I can collect a check again, anyways. So they're fun. I'll say this: I've tuned into them a little more, and especially like my favorite game I was producing for the Panthers side. I was like, oh, the Flyers look good, and they scored some goals. Like, all right, if you could be this entertaining, and you can beat some teams, be good. If you lose, that's fine. If you get blasted, it's fine, anyways.
Yeah, just continue on the path and give fans something to be excited about moving forward, and make yourself a player in free agency, especially if you can get in now before the next 2 salary cap increases, and you can kind of like meet the market where it is. That's going to be key. I mean, Danny Briere did the easy part, I mean, you and I could have went in there and traded Kevin Hayes, right?
Yeah.
But can you draft the right guys and, develop the right guys and make the right free agent moves? So now the real job begins.
It's a real fun job. It's kind of fun because when I look at it as like he's actually doing stuff what the Flyers have been needed to do for almost like 20 years when you look at it. Like they drafted okay for the first when Bobby Clark was still there until the cap came. And I was like, then it fell off a cliff anyways. So it's nice to see they're starting to get their head together.
Yeah, and I mean if they can get Luchenko get Martone up sooner rather than later, then you feel pretty good with where you are. It starts and ends for me with goaltender. They haven't had an elite number 1 since Ron Hextall was here.
I could say Robert Esch, but that was a very short time anyway, so I can't say that one at least. So
yeah,
I go by this. I live down here in Florida. Like if they play well in the 2 versus all the Florida teams, I'm fine. I just don't want them to get blasted 7-0 like the last time I went and saw them in Tampa, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they have to make the playoffs this year, but I think you're at a point where the draft picks aren't going to matter so much anymore. It's like you don't have time to take a mid-round guy and then develop him. I mean, your timeline is going to be next year and the next 2 or 3 years. I mean,
if I go by this, I know we're like only 6 games in. If you make the playoffs, mazel tov. If you don't make it, if you miss it by 1 point, I'm fine with that.
I
just want to be entertained for 82 games.
It would be nice. I mean, I guess, if they sneak in as like the final seed or something, if you play like a
Florida or Toronto.
Florida or a Tampa or something like that, and you just kind of get a taste of playoff hockey. I mean, that would be helpful for sure. But
it's like what Montreal did last year. They went to 5 games versus Washington, and like it was nice to see them in the playoffs.
Well, the Sixers, the Sixers came out of the process. They went from 10 wins to 26 wins to 53. So it really can turn pretty quickly, with the right guys in there. So
definitely. Are you excited? Are you excited for basketball to be back?
I want to see what VJ Edgecombe does, and how Quentin Grimes fits in.
Okay.
With this team this year, but I think with the Sixers, man, even if Joel and Paul George do stay healthy enough, I still think you're in a wake me up when the playoffs begin kind of mode.
I go by this. I'm going to enjoy my free league pass for a week and a half, and I'm going to see, do I want to follow basketball or do I want to buy the package anyways? That's what I go by.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I'm not going to not watch, but I don't feel the way about the Sixers that I felt, 4 or 5 years ago. And I think that's probably the same for most people.
I hear you. What's going on the website these days with Crossing Broad? As much as I enjoy, it's one of my home pages when I open up my laptop. By the way, I always tell this to people that Crossing Broad is one of my home pages. So,
no, I appreciate that. No, it's good, man. We've been with Sport Radar for about a year now. We were acquired by Sport Radar after XL Media sold last year. So, last year has basically just been about kind of getting to know what they want, and having them get to know what we do, and just kind of like refocusing on like the core business model, and keeping things basic. And we'll get together at the end of the year and kind of see where everybody's at, and just keep banging out content, hopefully stuff that people like and enjoy. And
definitely
no signs of that slowing down anytime soon.
Definitely. Also subscribe to the Crossing Broad YouTube channel. You may see a Crossing broadcast once in a while. So
that's right. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll bring it back. We did a one-off, you and I, on Friday, I guess, and people seem to enjoy that. So maybe do it more in the future, maybe not, or maybe we just do it when we feel like doing it.
Definitely, for sure. All right, Kevin Kinkead, thank you as always coming on the podcast. It's always great to have you on.
It's always a pleasure, man. Yep.